More and more people began practicing soul-refining art, and even the old man in gray was greatly interested in this technique. Given the growing number of tribespeople and the prisoners captured during previous expeditions led by Yang Hua and others, the male population in this place had now surpassed 500. This positioned the tribe at a mid-tier level among the surrounding tribes. With so many people gathered together, both inside and outside the valley, it seemed rather crowded. To address this, Wang Lin personally set up a formation. This formation was primarily based on prohibitions, blending the valley's natural array with the protective formation of the surrounding 10 miles. The range of this defensive formation covered roughly 20 miles, effectively solving the issue of insufficient space. Every new tribe needed a name, and after several inquiries from Yang Hua, Wang Lin decided to name it Soul Refining. At the center of the 20-mile radius of the Soul Refining tribe was the original valley. At present, everyone had relocated outside the valley, and the entire valley was designated as a forbidden zone. Only Wang Lin remained within, and outsiders could not enter without summons. Moreover, at the valley entrance, members of the Soul Refining tribe stood guard, much like personal bodyguards. This valley had become the spiritual symbol and the pinnacle of authority within the Soul Refining tribe, and Wang Lin, living there, was revered and feared by all members of the tribe. Wang Lin's rules had not changed. To obtain the next stage's mantra, only 3 methods were allowed. The entire Soul Refining tribe focused on their cultivation, and aside from a few patrolling individuals, the rest were rarely seen, all meditating and practicing their breathing technique in their own homes. At this moment, the Soul Refining tribe was no longer similar to any other tribe in the land of demon spirits. In comparison, it resembled a newly formed cultivation sect. Wang Lin's life had sunk into a rare tranquility. He lived alone in the valley. Under his divine abilities, the valley's former buildings had all disappeared, replaced by a place filled with the sounds of birds and flowers, like an immortal realm. In this idyllic place, Wang Lin personally built a wooden cabin. The cabin was simple, yet contained profound principles. Any cultivator who saw this cabin would immediately notice that every piece of wood that made up the structure, although varying in size, all weighed exactly the same. This cabin was where Wang Lin resided, sitting cross-legged inside, quietly practicing his breathing technique. What he absorbed was not immortal power, but rather the demon power of the land. Time passed slowly, and before long, it was winter. The winter in the land of demon spirits was no different from the outside world, with snowflakes falling from the sky. Everywhere, the earth was draped in silver. Wang Lin opened his eyes from his meditation, walked out of the cabin, and watched as snowflakes gently fell. He stood there, absorbed in the sight. After a while, Wang Lin looked up at the sky and murmured, 2 years. It had been nearly 2 years since he arrived in the land of demon spirits, and with this winter, it would be exactly 2 years. He raised his right hand and caught a falling snowflake. As it landed in his palm, a cold sensation spread, and the snowflake quickly melted, releasing a faint trace of demon power that flowed into Wang Lin's body. The land of demon spirits, everything here contains demon power. Wang Lin took a deep breath, sat cross-legged on the ground, and closed his eyes. The snow continued to fall, gradually covering Wang Lin, until hours later, he resembled a snowman. He remained motionless, quietly absorbing the demon power within the snowflakes. Over the past 2 years, his demon crystal had risen from 5 to 34 units. The higher the level, the harder it became to improve. 3 units of demon power were equivalent to foundation establishment, and over 10 times that was core formation. Each subsequent stage also required a 10-fold increase. Wang Lin's goal in condensing demon power was fundamentally to merge it with immortal power, which would, in turn, enhance his immortal power. Though Wang Lin's stock of immortal jade from a century's worth of cultivation was still considerable, it was barely enough for reaching the later stages of infant metamorphosis. As for the amount needed for his ultimate ascension, it was so vast that it was beyond imagination. Thus, to improve his cultivation, Wang Lin had to find another shortcut. Converting demon power was one of the methods he came up with. This was not a method unique to Wang Lin. Others were likely to think of it as well. Now, it was a matter of who could absorb the most powerful demon power. To Wang Lin, this demon power was like an alternative form of immortal jade, capable of boosting his cultivation. Over the past 2 years, the Soul Refining tribe had experienced one leap after another. With the need for the next stage's mantra, more and more tribespeople left the valley to venture out. Additionally, nearly every month, A group of tribespeople would set out to conquer small tribes, capturing a large number of prisoners and retrieving varying amounts of demon crystals. It is worth mentioning that the formations designed to resist external invasions have almost no effect on the native inhabitants of the land of demonic spirits. The primary purpose of these formations seems to be to fend off the demon spirit tide, with little use against outsiders attempting to enter. As time passed, the population of the soul-refining tribe continued to grow, and the 20-mile radius was beginning to feel insufficient. Consequently, the formation needed to be expanded. Wang Lin spent 3 days researching it, and was finally able to extend the formation's coverage by another 20 miles. Just like that, the soul-refining tribe, now with a 40-mile radius, quickly transformed into one of the strongest tribes in the surrounding tens of thousands of miles. With the increase in tribe members, more people began to practice the soul-refining art. Wang Lin understood that the souls within the soul banner needed to be nourished repeatedly to unleash their full power. However, he could not teach this method to others, so he summoned the soul banner, and under his divine technique, it immediately transformed into a vast black mist that covered the sky within a 40-mile radius. As soon as the black mist appeared, the people of the soul-refining tribe were startled and immediately emerged from their homes. Some with considerable cultivation even used the soul banner to wrap themselves and fly up, eager to investigate the mist. Release your souls into the mist several times a day, and their power will grow stronger. Wang Lin's voice slowly echoed from within the valley, reverberating throughout the 40-mile radius. The moment his voice spread, all the tribe members within the 40-mile radius kneeled to the ground without exception, their eyes filled with deep reverence. They knelt facing the valley where Wang Lin resided. After the appearance of the black mist, it lingered throughout the day, enveloping the 40-mile radius. Within this mist, the souls of both humans and beasts howled and surged. Over time, the people of the soul-refining tribe grew accustomed to releasing their souls into the mist for refinement, and the black mist became a distinct symbol of their tribe. Not everyone in the soul-refining tribe practiced the soul-refining art. Some could not cultivate at all and were only suited to be hunters, going out to hunt and provide food. 13 was one of these hunters. Since his cultivation had been destroyed, he hadn't spoken a word, becoming like a mute, his body devoid of any spiritual vitality. The only time his expression changed was during the deep hours of the night when he repeatedly practiced the breathing technique, showing a look of deep pain and unwillingness. He was unwilling to accept that many of his fellow tribesmen had reached the 4th stage of cultivation, with many having more than 10 soul banners. A few exceptionally talented individuals had completely replaced him in status, becoming the new strong ones in the tribe after Ouyang Hua. All of this constantly pricked at his heart. Because of this, when he went hunting, he often disregarded his life and fought recklessly. Over time, he nearly died several times. If not for the tribe members who looked after him, he would likely have perished long ago. Among those who took care of him, some knew of 13's past position in the tribe. Seeing him in such a state, they could only sigh inwardly. One day, Wang Lin was intently gazing at a piece of blackwood in his hand. This wood radiated faint glimmers of light. It had been brought back by a tribe member after they failed to find any demon crystals during an attack on a small tribe. However, they found this piece of wood in the place where the tribe people worshipped and offered it to Wang Lin. As he examined the wood, Wang Lin suddenly lifted his head and looked outside the valley. After a moment, Ouyang Hua's aged voice echoed from beyond the valley. Xun'er has something to request of the ancestor. The term ancestor naturally left the mouths of everyone in the tribe, and Wang Lin did not refuse, silently acknowledging it. Come in, Wang Lin said, still looking at the piece of wood in his hand. Ouyang Hua's figure appeared at the entrance of the valley. He was carrying someone in his arms, a person who was drenched in blood, their face pale. Quickly approaching Wang Lin, Ouyang Hua knelt on the ground, placing the person to the side and speaking in a low voice. Ancestor, 13 encountered a rare demonized beast while hunting. I sensed it and rushed over immediately, but I was too late. In the land of demonic spirits, any creature that accumulates too much demon power will undergo demonization, greatly enhancing their strength. Wang Lin set the wood down beside him and looked at 13. He appeared much older than a year ago and no longer resembled a youth but rather someone nearing the end of their life. Leave him. Wang Lin's voice was low. Ouyang Hua rose respectfully and left the valley. As he walked away, he sighed and glanced back at the valley, silently thinking, 13, your fate is in your own hands. Wang Lin stared at 13 and fell into deep thought. Wang Lin's expression stiffened. A year ago, he had made a definitive judgment that the 13's meridians were severed, unable to circulate demon power. But now, upon examination, he immediately noticed something strange. Though the meridians inside the 13's body were still severed, just as they had been a year ago, and many areas had even begun to atrophy for some unknown reason, a large amount of demon power had accumulated within his body. This demon power was not within the veins, but instead stored in the flesh and bones. If this continued for a long time, the 13's body would naturally undergo a kind of body refining effect. However, this person did not understand body refining art. Not only had he wasted much of the demon power, but he also did not know how to circulate it. As a result, even though he was walking the path of body refining, he would not get far before his body completely stiffened and died. Strange. A year ago, this 13 had no demon power at all, but now, he's almost reached the standard of 2 stars. Wang Lin's eyes flickered. From Luo Yun's memories, he had already learned that within this land of demonic spirits, 3 stars represented the first rank, equivalent to foundation establishment for cultivators. He raised his right hand and sat cross-legged. After a short while, his eyes suddenly burst with a crystalline radiance. His divine sense shot out from his heavenly spirit and transformed into a purple beam, instantly entering the 13's third eye. In comparison to Wang Lin, the 13 was like a firefly to the bright moon. After Wang Lin's divine sense entered the 13's forehead, he effortlessly saw everything that had happened to him over the past year. Wang Lin saw that for the past year, every night, the 13 endured agonies that ordinary people could not even imagine. He bore the excruciating pain of his severed meridians, unable to store demon power. Despite finally absorbing demon power into his body, it fused into his flesh and bones, causing him an unimaginable pain, as if countless tiny bugs were devouring and wriggling inside him. This series of sufferings, he endured for over a year without any interruption. All of this was because he was unwilling to accept his fate. He wanted to become stronger. He wanted Wang Lin to once again turn his gaze upon him. Wang Lin withdrew his divine sense, moved by what he saw. His expression became serious as he looked at the 13, who was floating in midair, lost in thought. The 13's determination had earned Wang Lin's favor. However, the only way to restore him was through the ancient god art. Wang Lin would never easily teach this to anyone. After a moment of contemplation, Wang Lin's right hand pressed gently on the 13's chest. As the demon power moved, the 13's body trembled. His mouth opened slightly, and at that moment, Wang Lin slapped his storage pouch, pulling out a pill and directly pressing it into the 13's mouth. After helping him dissolve it, he withdrew his finger and sat cross-legged again. The 13's body slowly descended from the air, landing flat on the ground. A while later, the 13 shuddered and began to cough violently. Eventually, he sat up, spitting out a large mouthful of black blood. Once the blood was expelled, his body immediately felt lighter. Only now did he realize that he was in a valley. Startled, he quickly turned around. When he saw Wang Lin standing beside him, he became excited and hurriedly knelt on the ground, showing extreme respect. 13 pays respects to the ancestor. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. He glanced at the 13, his eyes flashing as he demanded, "How did you acquire the demon power inside you?" The 13 trembled. Filled with awe for Wang Lin, he immediately recounted everything that had happened over the past year, his account matching exactly what Wang Lin had seen in his memory, without any concealment. Wang Lin secretly nodded, but his expression remained unchanged. He slowly said, 13, your meridians are severed. No matter how much demon power you absorb, it's useless. Without the flow of meridians, if the demon power accumulates in your body, you will undoubtedly die. The 13's face turned pale, and he gave a bitter smile. Taking a deep breath, he said, Ancestor, 13 does not wish to become useless. I know accumulating demon power inside my body is likely harmful, but it's the only way I feel like I am not useless. I have demon power. As he spoke, his voice trailed off, and his fists clenched tightly. Wang Lin looked at the 13. After a long silence, he finally spoke. I have a cultivation method that can help you transform the demon power inside your body into your flesh and bones, thus infinitely increasing your body's strength. Although you won't be able to use divine techniques, your physical body will grow increasingly tougher. This is body refining art. Are you willing to learn it? The 13's body trembled, and a look of wild joy appeared on his face. Without hesitation, he nodded immediately. Don't agree too quickly, Wang Lin warned. Cultivating body refining art is extremely difficult and dangerous. If you make even a slight mistake, I won't be able to save you. Moreover, cultivating it requires enduring great pain. Can you bear it? Ancestor, I will not disappoint you. The 13 looked at Wang Lin, his eyes filled with an unshakable determination that had never been there before. Wang Lin remained silent for a moment, then swiped his storage pouch with his right hand, pulling out a jade slip. After imprinting it with his divine sense, he threw it to the 13, saying, "You also have demon power inside you. Keep this jade slip close, and you should be able to study it." 13 took the jade slip in both hands, his excitement beyond description. He kowtowed heavily several times, then stood up and left. Once 13 had departed, Wang Lin let out a deep sigh. In the end, he hadn't taught 13 the ancient god scripture. Instead, he summarized the body refining art of the giant demon clan he knew and passed it on to 13. If this child succeeds in refining his body through the giant demon clan's methods, then I will teach him the first layer of the ancient god scripture. But if he fails, it will only mean he has no fate with the ancient god scripture. Seasons passed, and 2 years went by in the blink of an eye. During these 2 years, the soul-refining tribe's expansion had reached a frenzied pace. The territory of the tribe grew from 40 miles to nearly 300 miles, and the tribe's male population surpassed 5,000. Within 100,000 miles, only 2 large tribes had populations exceeding 10,000. All other tribes were absorbed by the soul-refining tribe. Over these 2 years, Wang Lin had intervened 3 times. The reason for each intervention was the presence of a strong leader within the opposing tribe. However, these so-called strong individuals were nothing compared to Wang Lin, who, in the desolate lands, had no equal. They were completely powerless against him. Wang Lin's plan of gradual encroachment had been extremely successful. At present, he controlled a tribe of 5,000, all of whom had learned the soul-refining art. While their cultivation levels weren't high, the power they could unleash with their full soul energy was formidable. In time, once they had all grown stronger, Wang Lin would command a powerful force. The surrounding region now stood in a stalemate, with 3 great powers holding sway over the land. Originally, Ouyang Hua had planned to launch a forceful attack on one of the large tribes, but Wang Lin stopped him. He ordered that all members of the tribe cease external aggression and focus on their cultivation. Wang Lin's words were as an edict to the soul-refining tribe. It's worth noting that 13 was a remarkably persistent individual. He had made some progress in mastering the giant demon clan's body-refining art. His flesh had become as tough as iron, and in battles, he was often at the forefront, unstoppable. In just 4 years, Wang Lin had turned a small valley tribe into a powerful force of 5,000. After commanding everyone to focus on cultivation, he made plans to leave. His destination, the ancient demon city. For years ago, Wang Lin had the chance to go to the ancient demon city, but he didn't. At that time, he had no influence or power, and going would have been useless. Now, for years later, Wang Lin was ready to visit the ancient demon city. With the soul-refining tribe backing him, even if he couldn't establish himself there, he had the strength to turn the situation around. To facilitate communication, Wang Lin spent half a month crafting 2 sound transmission jade slips, one for himself, the other left in the soul-refining tribe. If not for the lack of materials, he would have also set up a teleportation array in the tribe, allowing him to return instantly. Wang Lin didn't travel alone. He was accompanied by 2 youths, one of whom was 13. The other was called Hu Pao Tiger Roar. He was originally from a small tribe, and as a child, he had been trained, inheriting the demon power of 2 stars. With his sharp intellect, he quickly became the strongest in his tribe. Ouyang Hua had personally captured him, and after he drank the demon departure elixir, he became a member of the soul-refining tribe. In his training, he showed exceptional talent. Due to his innate 2-star demon power, within 4 years, he had surpassed nearly everyone and was catching up to Ouyang Hua. At present, Hu Pao had reached the 5th stage of cultivation, wielding 93 10 soul banners, with 31 primary souls. His overall strength was comparable to that of a core formation cultivator. Wang Lin saw a true genius in Hu Pao. Although entering the soul-refining sex divine techniques was easy, achieving the equivalent of core formation in just 4 years was something Wang Lin had never imagined. While Hu Pao's rapid growth was due to his 2-star demon power and the demon power of the land of demonic spirits, no one could deny that his cultivation speed was extraordinary. If he could reach the spirit transformation stage in 100 years, he might even surpass the red butterfly from back in the day. Wang Lin valued such a talent greatly, so he kept Hu Pao close, ensuring he was under his control and not left in the tribe. As for 13, his physical toughness had reached an unbelievable level. Even when facing Hu Pao in battle, he wasn't at a disadvantage in the slightest. All of this was closely tied to his determination and effort. Since the day he acquired the body refining technique, Xun'er had been training almost day and night without rest. When it came to seriousness, he was undoubtedly the number one in the entire tribe. That morning, as the first rays of the sun rose, Wang Lin stepped out of the soul refining tribe. Xun'er and Tiger Roar followed behind him like bodyguards. In their hearts, Wang Lin was the leader of the tribe. He was the ancestor of the entire soul refining tribe, and as long as he was there, the tribe would never be destroyed. Ouyang Hua also knelt on the ground. The 4 years that had passed flashed before his eyes. In those 4 years, his cultivation had made great strides. Sometimes, when he thought back, it felt like a dream. Looking at the more than 5,000 members of the tribe around him, Ouyang Hua could only describe his feelings for Wang Lin with one word: reverence. Wang Lin's footsteps continued, one step after another, gradually disappearing from everyone's sight. Yet, not a single person among the crowd stood up. 10 miles outside the soul refining tribe, Wang Lin tapped his storage pouch, and instantly, a purple gold light flashed out. In midair, it suddenly transformed into a giant beast. The beast's body was about 10 zhang in length, its entire form shining with purple gold hues. A massive mouthpiece radiated a chilling aura. It was the mosquito beast. Half a year ago, it had awakened, and its overall strength had far surpassed before. Even ordinary spirit transformation cultivators would probably not stand a chance against it in battle. Wang Lin assessed the situation. This beast's current strength was comparable to a late-stage perfect spirit transformation cultivator. This was not just the result of the golden spirit root. Its unique constitution played a huge role as well. From the flashing purple-gold colors on its body, a faint aura resembling that of the king of all beasts spread subtly. This aura, if one did not pay close attention, would be hard to notice. From the memories of ancient god Tusi, Wang Lin knew that the mosquito beast did not exist alone in the starry sky but appeared in groups. Since it was part of a tribe, there must be a leader among them. This beast was constantly evolving towards becoming the leader. However, it was still far from that goal. Back then, even ancient god Tusi had been somewhat wary of the mosquito beast group and had retreated in defeat. As soon as the mosquito beast appeared, it let out a sharp, ear-piercing howl. The sound was so intense that Xun'er and Tiger Roar turned pale. With their cultivation, they could not bear the penetrating force of the sound. After the howl, the mosquito beast lowered its body and landed in front of Wang Lin. It rubbed its massive mouthpiece on Wang Lin, its eyes filled with affection. Wang Lin smiled slightly and raised his right hand to pat the mosquito beast's body. Then, he leapt and sat cross-legged on its back. "You two, get up here as well," Wang Lin said calmly. Xun'er gritted his teeth, thinking to himself that he could not disgrace himself in front of the ancestor. He leapt onto the mosquito beast's back. The moment his feet landed, a cold, sinister aura surged into his body. With his body refining technique, he was completely unaffected by the cold, but a tingling sensation spread throughout his body. Had it not been for his incredible willpower, he would have likely collapsed by now. Tiger Roar, seeing Xun'er get on, naturally didn't want to fall behind. With a grit of his teeth, he too flew up onto the mosquito beast's back, and the cold aura instantly engulfed his entire body. After struggling to remain standing, Tiger Roar couldn't help but smile bitterly. He thought to himself, the ancestor is indeed powerful. Even the demonic beast he tamed possesses such strength. It's truly terrifying. Seeing the performance of Xun'er and Tiger Roar, Wang Lin's eyes flashed with approval. With a thought, the mosquito beast immediately roared. Its body moved like lightning, charging forward. A powerful gale immediately blasted towards the three of them, striking their bodies. Wang Lin felt no discomfort from the wind. In fact, it felt rather refreshing. As for Xun'er and Tiger Roar, they were like leaves caught in a hurricane, nearly blown away with the slightest misstep. Xun'er let out a low growl, immediately circulating his demon power to weaken the force of the gale with his body refining technique. Tiger Roar also closed his eyes, breathing deeply to resist the wind. The distance from here to ancient Demon City was 30 million miles. Even with the mosquito beast's speed, it would take some time to reach. Wang Lin wasn't in a hurry, so he refrained from using the great teleportation technique to conserve his immortal power. As the mosquito beast charged through the sky, the tribes on the ground immediately activated their defensive formations. In their eyes, the mosquito beast was too powerful. With its speed alone, it had already created a thunderous roar in the air, like a heavenly lightning strike descending. The booming sound traveled far and wide, creating a truly shocking spectacle. When Wang Lin first entered the land of demon spirits, he was unaware that the area was protected by a formation and inhabited by tribes. Moreover, this formation had a concealing effect, so he hadn't noticed any signs of life. However, now that he had a better understanding of the land of demon spirits, as he looked down again, he saw countless tribes along the way. These tribes varied in strength and size, with differing numbers of inhabitants. If my soul-refining tribe could devour and merge all the tribes in the land of demon spirits, the resulting power would likely shock even the 9 demon spirit counties. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with a cold light. 7 days later, ancient demon city appeared before his eyes. When they were still 100 miles away, he recalled the mosquito beast and landed on the ground with 13 and Tiger Roar. 13 was calm and composed. Although the furthest he had ever traveled from his tribe was tens of thousands of miles, now, standing 30 million miles from his tribe, he never dreamed he would come here. However, he managed to suppress his excitement and kept his face expressionless, his demeanor cold, hiding any trace of inner emotions. His expression now was quite similar to Wang Lin's. In fact, for years ago, 13's personality wasn't like this. Over these 4 years, his reverence for Wang Lin had caused him to unconsciously imitate Wang Lin in many ways. This place was one of the cities in the heavenly demon province, Ancient Demon City. To all the tribe's people, Ancient Demon City was the place of heavenly might, the Holy Land. It was a place not to be desecrated, the ultimate dream for everyone in their lifetime. But to 13 now, this idea had changed. For years ago, he might have been in awe of Ancient Demon City, but now, in his heart, Wang Lin was the embodiment of heavenly might, and his holy land was the tribe's valley. His ultimate dream was to earn Wang Lin's recognition. As for Tiger Roar, compared to 13, he was still somewhat lacking. Upon seeing Ancient Demon City, he unconsciously knelt and began to silently worship. After a moment, he realized his mistake and quickly stood up, his face turning red with shame. Seeing 13's cold expression, with no sign of excitement like his own, he felt inferior. Taking a deep breath, he spat on the ground and muttered a few words under his breath, his previous awe vanishing, replaced by disdain. Wang Lin smiled quietly at their reactions. He took a step forward, and his figure seemed to blur into smoke as he moved towards the city. 13 and Tiger Roar followed closely behind. The 100 miles passed quickly, and Ancient Demon City stood vividly before them. Ancient Demon City was vast, nearly impossible to see the edge of it at a single glance. Its size was the largest Wang Lin had ever seen. But after traveling across the starry skies, what he saw were planets and nebulae, so even though the city was huge, in his eyes, it still seemed insignificant. As they entered the city, Wang Lin did not conceal his immortal power. His expression was calm as he strode forward. The northern gate of the city was crowded with people coming and going, with guards stationed to keep watch. Wang Lin knew that in the cultivation world, everything depended on strength. If one was too low profile, it could work against them. There were many people waiting in line to enter, and if he were to wait, it might take a couple of hours before he could enter. So he simply bypassed the crowd and walked directly toward the gate. 13 and Tiger Roar followed him closely, with Tiger Roar looking slightly nervous, while 13 remained calm and steady. Wang Lin's sudden approach to the gate immediately caught the attention of the guards. These guards were demon soldiers from the left-wing demon general's office in Ancient Demon City. Each of them was at the foundation establishment stage of cultivation. To them, Wang Lin appeared to be an ordinary person from the barbarian wasteland, with no sign of demon power within him. However, the demon power emanating from 13 and Tiger Roar was overwhelming, indicating they had reached at least the top ranks of demon cultivation. The fact that someone like Wang Lin had such powerful subordinates immediately made him seem mysterious in the guards' eyes. But this alone wasn't enough to break the rules of the gate. As Wang Lin entered, one of the guards stepped forward. He wore black armor and held a long spear, which he swung toward Wang Lin. In a cold voice, he ordered, "Step back." Impudent. Before Wang Lin could speak, 13 stepped forward and threw a punch. In 13's mind, Wang Lin was the embodiment of heavenly might, and anyone who showed disrespect to him was his enemy. 13 didn't hold back with this punch. His body refining technique from the giant demon clan made his body as tough as refined steel, and the punch he threw was like a flying sword, slicing through the air with a sharp whistle. The surrounding space seemed to distort as it moved toward the demon soldier. The demon soldier's face changed drastically. 13's punch appeared like a meteor in his eyes, and a strange force was contained within. He tried to dodge, but he found his body was restrained by an invisible force, as though he was submerged in water, making his movement slow down instantly. This person had been through countless battles, and his experience was rich. In the midst of this crisis, his spear immediately crossed in front of him, and with the greatest force, he stepped back. The punch from 13 landed on the spear, and with a muffled sound, the spear suddenly shattered inch by inch, as though it had been destroyed by immense force, turning into dust. The demon soldier guard's face turned pale. Though the restraints on his body disappeared, he staggered back several steps before stabilizing himself. Blood could be seen at the corner of his mouth. Had it not been for the other guards rushing forward to support him, this person would have been seriously injured. Even those who supported him turned pale and shuddered, clearly suffering from the force of the impact. Outside the city gates, those waiting to enter saw this scene and quickly dispersed, their eyes showing a sense of enjoyment as they watched. 13. Wang Lin said in a deep voice. 13 immediately stepped forward, his expression respectful. Even if Wang Lin scolded him, he bore no resentment. That punch of yours was wrong. Wang Lin's voice was low. 13 whispered in agreement, saying, in 13's eyes, anyone who disrespects the ancestor is an enemy of 13. Tiger Roar stood by in silence. He didn't have the same impulsiveness as 13. Initially, he had some regret, but seeing Wang Lin's serious expression now, he felt relieved, thinking to himself that it was fortunate he hadn't acted earlier. If he had offended the ancestor, it would have been a loss. Wang Lin shook his head and said, that punch of yours, although you gave it your all, leaked about 40% of its power during the swing. It couldn't be controlled as you wished. Otherwise, how could that demon soldier guard withstand it? He certainly wouldn't have had a chance to survive. 13 paused, then nodded thoughtfully, his eyes filled with contemplation. At this moment, the number of demon soldiers around them had grown to over a dozen. Each of them revealed murderous intent. It was unclear who roared first, but soon all of them raised their weapons, channeling their demon power, charging at Wang Lin and the others. Outside the city gates, demon power surged in every direction, and sand flew everywhere. A murderous aura spread out from these soldiers. All of them were seasoned veterans, and now, freed from restraint, even those with superior cultivation could be forced back if their difference in strength wasn't too great. Watch closely. Though body refining art and magical techniques are very different, they have common ground. Though I haven't practiced body refining, this punch of mine can still achieve the same result. Wang Lin said as he clenched his right fist and casually threw a punch. The punch struck the void, but immediately, ripples spread outward from the center of his fist. As the ripples spread, the surrounding demon soldiers slowed down, as though time had frozen around them. But then, the ripples violently shook, and the demon soldiers were immediately shaken. They quickly retreated, moving at a speed several times faster than before. As they retreated, the soldiers turned pale, and blood involuntarily poured from their mouths. Wang Lin did not retract his right fist. Instead, he extended his palm. In that instant, the blood spilling from the demon soldiers mysteriously transformed into droplets of blood, rapidly gathering toward Wang Lin's right hand. A blood sphere suddenly formed. He pointed his right hand forward, and the blood sphere flew out like a red lightning bolt, heading straight toward the city wall. Just as the blood sphere was about to strike the wall, a cold snort came from within the city gate. Then, a red figure appeared outside the city gate. The person raised their right hand into the air, and before the blood sphere could reach the wall, it immediately collapsed, dispersing into blood droplets that scattered in all directions. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, and he smiled slightly, saying, I'm surprised to meet someone from the same place here. As the blood light dissipated, the figure revealed a woman. The moment the woman appeared, all the surrounding demon soldiers immediately knelt on one knee, respectfully saying, Greetings, Commander Yao. The woman had eyes like phoenix feathers, with a murderous aura around her brows. She wore a white robe, and her long black hair cascaded down her shoulders. She gave Wang Lin a cold glance, frowned, and said, Wang Lin. Wang Lin's gaze subtly flickered. He studied the woman for a moment. He had seen her before, outside the East Sea Demon Spirit Gate. She had occupied a prominent position, which had caught his attention. Her cultivation was at the late infant metamorphosis stage, though she hadn't reached perfection yet. She was close. It seems that my name is quite well known on the Destiny Star. Wang Lin smiled and stepped forward. As he moved, a fierce, ominous aura suddenly erupted behind him, spreading outward like a violent wave. The woman in white glanced at Wang Lin coldly, frowned again, took a step back, and said flatly, "I didn't expect you to be here in the Heavenly Demon Province. You came to the ancient demon city, surely to seek a position and gain military merit. Our battle is meaningless." With that, she turned and walked toward the city. Wang Lin smiled faintly, taking a step forward as he entered the city gate. 13 and Tiger Roar followed closely behind. The woman in white walked at a slow pace. After entering the city, she did not head straight in but instead turned right, heading toward a plaza. In the center of the plaza stood a massive teleportation array. Demon soldiers guarded the area, and upon seeing the woman, they all knelt on one knee in respect. Inside the teleportation array, the woman turned to Wang Lin and coldly said, "Follow me to meet the left-wing demon general. This ancient demon city belongs to the demon general, and to gain a position, you must first earn the demon general's approval." Wang Lin nodded and turned to 13 and Tiger Roar, saying, "Wait for me inside the city." Then, he walked toward the array. The moment he stepped into it, the array activated, and as flashes of white light flickered, Wang Lin and the woman disappeared within. After a brief moment of dizziness from the teleportation, Wang Lin regained his senses and began surveying his surroundings. Directly ahead, towering high into the sky, stood an immense building. It was a grand palace, inside of which stood a colossal statue that pierced the clouds. The statue depicted a strong man in armor, and a powerful demonic aura erupted from it, swirling through the sky in violent spirals. The woman in white stepped out of the array and coldly said, "Demon General, I have brought him." As soon as her words fell, a hearty laugh echoed from within the palace, followed by the sudden descent of a figure above the massive statue. The figure moved with lightning speed, appearing instantly in midair. The person had an ordinary appearance, but a fierce aura emanated from him. He wore a purple robe, his arms exceptionally thick, and his presence exuded a powerful authority. His gaze was sharp as he looked at Wang Lin and laughed. "Are you the outsider who attacked my demon soldiers outside the city?" Wang Lin's pupils contracted slightly, his keen senses detecting the strong demonic power within the man. Although the man's demonic energy was restrained, Wang Lin, with his cultivation, immediately recognized his formidable strength. The man's demonic power was likely not less than several 100,000 jia. This meant his cultivation was likely comparable to the peak of the Dao-seeking stage. It was known that in the land of demon spirits, 1 star was equivalent to 1 jia, and it took 3 jia for foundation establishment, 30 for core formation, 300 for nascent soul, 3,000 for spirit transformation, 30,000 for infant metamorphosis, and 300,000 for Dao seeking. That's right. Wang Lin raised his head, his expression calm, and spoke leisurely. The muscular man's eyes narrowed, and he laughed loudly as he stepped forward, his right fist suddenly striking out. He shouted, "Good. Let's see what you're really capable of." The punch came like a bolt of lightning, but strangely, there was no sound. Though it struck at empty space, it was directed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression showed no panic. He flicked his sleeve casually and extended his right thumb, pressing it against the void. Annihilation finger. The woman in white's eyes flashed as she watched. With a single finger, Wang Lin turned the area within 100 yards around him into complete stillness, as though all life energy had been drained and condensed into his thumb. At the moment he performed the annihilation finger, a loud crash echoed between him and the muscular man. Wang Lin staggered backward 3 steps, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. The muscular man in midair pulled back his fist and swayed slightly. His gaze sharpened as he smiled and said, "Good. I'm in midair, using the force of the strike to my advantage, so I've gained some benefit. But just from that 1 finger, you could already become an elder in my estate." Wang Lin's expression remained indifferent, and he shook his head, saying, "I don't want an internal position." The muscular man's eyes narrowed, and he laughed. "Your knowledge of the land of demon spirits exceeds my expectations. You actually understand the distinction between internal and external positions." In the memory of Luo Yun's ancestors, records were left that in this land, there were 2 types of positions, internal and external. Elders and other such officials were considered internal positions with no military authority. Only positions like commander or general held military power. The Demon Emperor once said that for outsiders like you, As long as your cultivation is sufficient, you can be granted any position. But little one, if you want an external position, you'll need to show your true strength. That finger just now wasn't enough. Wang Lin took a deep breath, gathered his energy, and said, "You can continue." A flash of appreciation appeared in the muscular man's eyes. He stopped talking and immediately punched at the void. As soon as the punch was thrown, it was quickly retracted, followed by another. The man's speed was astonishing, and in an instant, he threw out 10 punches. In front of him, the space collapsed in waves, but the space seemed unusually solid, and even after 10 punches, it did not completely shatter. This is my 10 collapses battle intent. If you can withstand it, you'll become a commander. The muscular man shouted, and with a sudden motion, he reached out and grabbed the collapsing space, throwing it directly at Wang Lin. The 10 collapses battle intent had no tangible form. It emanated from the void, merging into nothingness, encompassing all the demon power from the left-wing demon general's 10 punches. Moreover, it carried with it the murderous aura of a lifetime spent on the battlefield. 10 collapses referred to 10 transformations, 10 collapses. Each collapse built upon the last, and by the 10th collapse, its power reached an unimaginable level. Such a divine technique was exceedingly rare in the entire cultivation world, and it was the first time Wang Lin had ever encountered it in his life. Almost the moment the 10 collapses battle intent arrived, Wang Lin immediately discerned its nature. His eyes suddenly gleamed with a sharp light as he took several steps back. His feet pressed down, and he stood firm like a 1,000-year-old pine. He did not use a magic tool. Instead, gray mist swirled around his right hand as the Slaughter Immortal art was unleashed in an instant. At the same time, his right index finger extended, and the demon transformation finger began to move within him. His immortal power instantly reversed, transforming into demonic aura that gathered along his finger.